Greetings, I'm Johnny Scoville. This is Chase the Heat. Brock Bamby, Krista Melinda, Janet Aldrich, Jane. Why did I say Janet? I need new glasses, man. This is brutal. They don't work anymore. You know, they look cool. I need new glasses. I'm sorry, Jane. How bad was that? Mark, good to see you. Hello, Diane. Man, I'll tell you what. It's going to be an interesting one. All kinds of cool stuff to tell you. Things I've learned. We're going to wait a few minutes to let more people get in here. So do me a favor if you can. I can't see how many likes we got. So was it 14 of us? See if we can get 14 likes. Yeah, yesterday I had trouble breathing. Well, it wasn't an asthma thing. It was just sinuses. Much better now. Hello, Cindy G. Hello, Heidi. Lilac Line. Greetings, Amy. Appreciate you all being here. Winchester Super X. Yeah, my eyes. Interesting. I remember when I didn't need glasses. Jeremy Fowler, good to see you. Yeah, I'm feeling way better. There's Lisa Trimble. So I've got a bunch of cool stuff to tell you about. Maybe you find it cool. I don't know. It's just my observations. I observe stuff. I see a lot of stuff. Like, I'm the guy that sees mistakes in movies and bothers people sitting next to me. I'm like, do you see that? I'm that guy. Dr. Z, Brian, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Do peppers clear the sinuses? Mark wants to know. You know what? They make people's nose run a lot. Tassidal. So that's one of the, I don't know. Dizzy, good to see you. They're good for you all around. I know that. Barbara, good to see you. I'm going to grow soon. Honestly, I know I've been saying that for a long time. Here comes Willie. Good to see you. Look at that. Been a while, but he's planning on hopping on more frequently. I do not like Tommy's computer. Let's do that. There we go. Planning on hopping more frequently. Yeah, it's no longer the bus. It's now the train, so I'm glad you're here. There's Josh Cohen. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Yeah, those lights behind, pretty cool. I dig them. All right, so please continue to hit the like if you haven't. So I think that, and you have to understand something. I love the United States. But I'm going to say some critical stuff. And it's not just the United States, but what I'm going to talk about really is. It's the cage. We all live in a cage. Some are in our minds, but I mean, we all live in a cage. And I think things that are going on, it's easier to see it from here. I feel like I'm getting the 10,000-foot view. But I think that some of the things happen in the United States and just the whole environment creates an atmosphere where we're in a cage. And I'm going to talk first about the study that was done. It was isolating housing experiments in the 60s and 70s with rats. A guy named Charles Schuster. Oh, excuse me, no. Gerald Deneau in 69 was really kind of instrumental in it. But what they did was they had rats in cages. And they were given a choice. Some of the cages, they had a choice of heroin, some was cocaine, and food or the drug. And 90% of the time, the rat would, he would do the drugs and, stay away from the food until the point where he picked up a terrible habit, terrible health, and died. Aaron, disclosure, Aaron, good to see you. So it's it's an interesting thing. It's a tremendous number, and it's been used for. We've all heard it a million times. No, the TV behind my head is perfect. It's off kilter. Here's the thing: if you're sitting on the couch, now it'll be off kilter if you're on the couch. It's kind of a weird thing. There was a second study though that a lot of people don't know about it. And it was called a Rat Park experiment by Bruce Alexander. He did this at Simon Fraser University. And the research ran from 1977 to 79. What they did was they took rats and they put them in a cage, but instead of giving them the choice of just a drug or food in that cage, it was heaven for a rat. There was all kinds of cool things to play on, wheels and cardboard boxes and tons of stuff for the rat to play with. In addition, they put some rats of the opposite sex in the cage. And what happened was, let me give you some of the actual numbers here. First of all, it was reduced preference because of enriched environments. Okay. There were very low, first of all, less than 5% of the rats in a cage with a drug there, but with everything else as a distraction, less than 5% became addicted at all. And there was not one rat that overdosed. It's kind of interesting. They reversed it. They took rats that were in a cage, highly addicted, and they took the rat out of that cage and put it in the cage with rats of the other gender, things to play on, paradise. 60% of them bounced back to the point where they were fine. It's pretty crazy. So it can be reversed. Let's see where I'm going with this. The one big reason is because of the bonds that the rat made with other rats. Because in the first round of tests, it was one rat in a cage by himself. So it's kind of an interesting thing. The problem that we have now is I think the internet is instrumental. There's a couple things in the United States that I think make the cage worse than it is. There's a cage here. There's a cage everywhere. Just the state of the economy. Maverick, good to see you. The state of the economy is ridiculous. People are living check to check. It's like a economic treadmill, and there's incredible debt dependency that we've got. So here's a few stats I got for you. Student debt: 45 million Americans owe a total of $1.7 trillion in back student loans. And this is from the Federal Reserve in 2023. The average borrower owes $37,000. Mike Bragg, good to see you. 37 grand. You get out of school and you're in the hole for 37 grand. What that does is it delays super big milestones in people's lives, like home ownership, starting a family, that kind of thing. Credit card debt. The U.S. credit card debt hit almost 1.1 trillion in 2023. 60% of adults are carrying balances month to month with high interest rates. And work hours. The average American will work 1,811 hours annually, higher than many developed nations. 29% of full-time workers report no paid vacation. You know what that does to your motivation? That's a huge number. So the bottom line is that adds to the cage. Social media and digital addiction. Americans spend over 2 hours, the average American spends over 2 hours daily on social media, with teens spending nearly 5 hours trapped by addictive algorithms. It's made to keep you in there. That's your cage. There was a cage before the internet. The internet kind of made the bars closer. 41% of teens feel worse due to social media, but they keep scrolling. They keep watching. Just like rats, right? Choosing the drug over the food. Dopamine dopamine-driven apps on phones keep 64% of users checking constantly. That's the cage. I believe that. There's consumer and status pressure. 61% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, but still spend 1/3 of their income on non-essential items. And it's chasing status, is what it is, I think. The average person in America is bombarded with 10,000 ads a day. They'll see 10,000 ads per day. And you know what they're doing? They're pushing you to buy more. It's the lever on the bed in the rat cage. Half of millennials feel trapped by the need to keep up, and they think that they can buy things, like things that you buy can give you happiness, so they can't. There's limited social mobility and systematic inequality. Only half of Americans out-earn their parents. Think about that. What's every parent's dream? So you want your kids to have a better life than you have, right? Wes, good to see you. Think of that. Less than only half out-earn their parents. That was 90. That number, by the way, out earning your parents was at 92% just a few decades ago. The top 1% own 32% of the wealth, leaving the bottom half with scraps. And that, whether you believe in the trickle down theory or not, that to some people who think that way, that is your cage. So that's what's going on. 70%. The numbers are horrific. Isolation. This is a good one. 59% of Americans between 18 and 24, 59% say they're lonely, and their loneliness is negatively impacting their well-being. And we're in a day and age now where there's a pill for everything. So you go to the doctor, hey, take this. 18 to 34, 30% are lonely. 45 and over 45 age, 35% of report feeling lonely. Middle age just gets worse. So at 75, a huge 30%, they have chronic isolation. We're in a bad spot, and the problem is the internet is like a drug. It is. Everybody knows it is. If you have kids that are on the internet and you take the internet away from them, whether it's a game or they play, watch them in 2 hours and see how they act. They'll be acting just like somebody who's missing their dough, because whether you're pulling a handle on a slot machine or whether it's sex or pick your drug, tobacco, nicotine, any drug. We're in a jam right now, and you know the key? Stop watching this. That's the key. I know it sounds crazy, but stop watching. I think if you factor in like food and sex and the internet, 90% of the planet is addicted to something. So what I've learned here is I walk around and there's no advertising anywhere. The only advertising I ever see anywhere is if I go online. You don't see it anywhere. You walk around, there's just none of it. There are no billboards here. And as a result, like Tom and I first got here, we were walking down the Malcolm one day, and I see these. In America, they're viewed differently. You see a woman who's thick, wearing a thong, and nobody's looking at her going, I can't believe she's wearing that. And then we were kind of surprised. And what happens is over time, you start looking at it, and it doesn't seem, wow, I can't believe she's wearing that, or good for her. After 3 months of being here, I'm looking at them going, looking pretty good. The little girls are bombarded with advertisements. I did a show about this a while back, where they're just the image, the self-image of what they think they're supposed to be. Like, you show me a woman with 6 packs, I'm like, go to a buffet, eat something. And then young men, boys, it's the same thing. And that's the problem that we're having. I mean, it really is so bad. And here, there's just none of that. There's just none of that. You don't see anybody, if anybody who's been here, you don't see people walking around like this, staring at their phones. Honest to God, if there's somebody, once in a while you'll see it. Gathy, good to see you, dude. Glad you're here. So you know what? There's still a cage, like I said, but there's happiness, and so overdeveloped. Their job is just to get you to buy stuff, to make you a consumer. Whether you're consuming, all you're consuming is content, or whether anything else, that's their job. I was early on when I started the channel, I was talking to my mom. I had an invite to go to Costa Rica for a chili show. And I didn't say yes right away. I thought about it. Like, it was the first chili show they ever had there. I had this thought of getting there and having 7 people in a big auditorium or something. I didn't know. But I didn't think it was a good idea. I decided not to do it. And I didn't email anybody. Natalie, good to see you. I didn't talk. The only person, I mean, it was nothing in writing, like on text messages, nothing. Because now you know what happens if you type something in, you're bombarded with exactly what you just typed in. This is going back 8 or 9 years ago. And I was talking to my mother. I said, I was invited to go to Costa Rica. She was going to go. I said, I don't think so. I told her why. I get on my computer. I open up my laptop, and the first ad was flights to Costa Rica. So it's designed to get you. You know what I mean? When they made the phone, they designed it with dopamine in mind. They even talked about it like a dopamine hit. So what's happening is in America, and if you factor in the fact, I mean, isolation is terrible. When the pandemic happened, there were a lot of people that went home and just stayed home. Businesses learned during that time that, hey, you know what, we can still have a business and not have an office. I mean, there's so many Americans that just didn't go back, and there's so much isolation. Isolation is a horrible thing. It's like the worst punishment you can give somebody in a prison is to lock him up by himself. It makes people crazy. They walk around talking to themselves. And that's what's happening. That's why I think we all have a cage. So what you need to do, I think the key to all of it is just figuring out a way to get your dopamine hit from something healthy. And that's the thing. Do you understand if you just do something, even the littlest thing, if it's new, you know what I mean? When we first got here, everything was so new. Just the novelty of it, walking around and seeing every single thing was different. We were high on that for 2 or 3 weeks. We couldn't believe everything we're seeing. Everything was so new. We were getting our dopamine just taking a walk. You know what I mean? And it's just, having been here, we've been here a while now. The longer I'm here, the more I see the changes. Mike, no one wants a bone to eat. Need some meat on that bone. And the thing about it is, society puts that on you. Like for young guys, they want the girl that's like the Instagram model or the girl that lives in the gym. If you go to the gym and you live in the gym, that's, I'm not knocking you for that. But the older I get, I dig curves. Good to see you, Bobby K. Hi, John. Good to see you. But so the problem is, I don't know. I know when I was in, here's the thing, real quick. You can get out of that. They can reverse it. It's an important thing about this study. When I was in Tucson, I'm clean for a long time now. Clean from all the bad ones for 16 years. So I was sober I'm sober now, but I was sober when I was in Tucson. I was playing my guitar like 3 or 4, sometimes 5 hours a day. It's escapism, is what it is. But I'm telling you, if you guys think anything I'm saying is right or not, it's so evident here. And, and it's funny. I've said third world country 1,000 times. I've been to a few of them. But what they ought to say is just wicked civilized is what they ought to call it, because it's one of the most civilized places I've ever been in my life. Sandy Wandy, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. So the main thing I've learned is how society is trying to do everything it can to dictate what you do. I said before, the operating system of a phone is no different. They have everything with a computer. There's an operating system in there. Your brain's got one, and whatever we see and whatever we hear, and the frequency we see it and hear it, determines how you think. Everybody had. When I went to college, it was a very liberal college. It absolutely changed me. That's just how the life works, And then I remember I got rid of cable. It's been over 10 years since I've Tamu. Isn't that nice? Gauthi, I'm gonna mock Tommy for that, because that's Tommy did that. Yeah, that's bad what George Soros does. He's an evil dude. Guys, you know what I did yesterday? It took 3 hours yesterday. I deleted my Facebook account. It's gone. There's still the Chase the business page, because I didn't feel like messing with it anymore yesterday. To be really honest, Tommy was instrumental in doing it. New arrival to Timu, right, Mark? I'm going to mock Tommy for that. But I got rid of my Facebook. I tell you something. The second Tommy got rid of his too. We fist bump in the living room. It's a good thing. So, the isolation, there were studies done when I was a kid. We spent 4 or 5 hours a day, not in school, out of school with our friends. Now nobody does any of that. And the isolation, here's what scares me. I was saying to Tommy today, it's going to happen here sooner than you think. He goes, why do you think that? I was like, because kids still have video games. That's where it starts, man. Kids are, depending on the age bracket, kids 16 to 18, they're spending 8 hours a day on the computer. That's insane. I think it is. In January, I'm going to get some seeds. I'm going to start growing. So I look forward to that. But do you guys feel like any of that makes sense? I mean, and here, how do you battle that is the question. Like we all, you have jobs. If you work at home, you work at home. But because nobody's like that, everybody knows everybody here. It's a small town, but everybody knows everybody. I mean, everybody knows who I am. They know who Tommy is. With less advertising, it sounds like a lot less sensory overload too. It's very interesting. It takes a while to get used to. You'll see it right away if you come here, but in time, it's just not warthogs. I don't know. You know what? I might be able to figure that out. Maybe warthogs. There'll definitely be some hot ones, though. That's for sure. I don't know, Dizzy. I'm thinking about that. I'm not sure. 7-pot premiums would be great. I'm gonna grow probably 3 or 4 super hots, and the rest just medium or low. Now this is Naranja. This is orange juice. It's so good. I live on this stuff. They have coconuts here too, though, that are great. If you buy them out on the street, a coconut's at $2 for this giant coconut, and they cut the top of it off and shove a spoon in it. Dizzy Dragon. Reapers are better. The 7-pot Primo. I love Troy. Troy's a good person. So if nothing else, that makes me be a 7-pot Primo fan. Another good. I told you this a while back, though. Like every part of my life is, like lots of my life is improved. You know what I mean? My walk with God has gotten closer. And someone I very, very close with, I mentioned this a while back, said that God's like the signal, like a radio signal. And in the United States, there's so many distractions, it clouds out the signal. And here, there just aren't any. I don't see the moon. I haven't seen the stars at all or the moon since June. You can't see them here. Not once. Never. Sort of a bummer. You know what, John? Anything from Clayton. Clayton has, I have done a lot of reviews for Clayton Hollingsworth. He grows some amazing peppers. And he's a lovely guy. He's a good man. Barbara, good to see you. Yeah, I can't stand this computer. Look at that, Kristen greeting Barb. My cat dumped an entire glass of water on my laptop and it's toast. Dale Cox, good to see you. It's a funny thing because here, like everything is cheap. This was, I think, $1.09 for this carton of orange juice. It's just amazing. Everything is relatively inexpensive here, except anything involved with electronics. They're very expensive. So the laptop I need to get is twice as expensive here as the same laptop is in America. Kind of a drag. You know what? That's not a bad suggestion, Dizzy. Yeah, it's a beautiful pepper. You know what, though? I think it's more beautiful. There are other peppers that taste better, but visually, those are pretty stunning peppers. Nice to see you, Dale. I hope you're doing well. But I'm really actually excited to grow. Here's the thing. I've said this I didn't start talking about it. Well, maybe I did. I don't know. I've talked about it a lot. We have the Chase the Heat historian here. Dizzy Dragon, how long have I been talking? Zabrange is pretty tasty. How long have I been talking about doing growing peppers? Bishop Crown would be pretty nice too. I've been talking about it for a lot of years. So, I've had people ask a lot of times, if you only grow a handful of peppers, what would you grow? If you're on an island, what peppers seeds would you take with you? I'm not on an island. I'm on a peninsula. But I'm going to do that. Maybe we should have run to a vote. 7. I wonder how many plants I can grow here. You know what? Tommy had a pretty good idea. Out where the recovery center is, you know how much land there is there? 7 years. Is that what you're saying, Dizzy? So I've been talking about growing for a long time. And I'll talk is old. You know what? You need to come and visit me here, Dizzy. Maybe I should have everybody kind of tell me what peppers they think I ought to grow. I'd probably grow some jalapenos. And you know what? I'd probably grow orange habaneros as well. Anyway, so here's getting back to what I was initially talking about. I've learned that the less distraction you have in your life, the better your life is going to be. When I stopped watching cable 10 years ago, it was dramatic. The difference was amazing. moving here, I'm eating better food, so I feel healthier, which is great. You know what? RB003s are so pretty. They just weren't that hot. You know, they weren't that hot though back when my tolerance was through the roof. An RB003 would destroy me right now. But I'm fired up about doing some pepper videos again. Here's the thing about habaneros, man. If you get one in the store, you guys ever get the tomatoes in the store, like the orange numbers? You cut them open, they're with plastic. They're kind of nasty. I think they don't taste good. I don't know why people buy them. If you get like a vine grown tomato, it's still on the vine. They're meaty and red and just delicious. It's totally different. Same thing with habaneros. You get orange habs from the store, you aren't going to like them very much. You might, if you don't know the difference, you're like, yeah, it tastes great. But if you ever get a hold of an orange hab that a grower grew in his backyard, it'll blow you away. Oh no. The 7-pot Primo, one ruined 19 gallons of beef. Had to get a whole other thing of the beef. What a bummer that is. I don't know what the deal was with it. It had beautiful genetics. It should have been a monster. Maybe it was where my tolerance was, to be really honest. My tolerance was really high then. The green warthog is stinky. You know what? I'm going to grow some warthogs. I am. I'm going to grow some warthogs. I don't have any right now, but I'm going to call Matthew Arthur. I'm going to call him tomorrow. Look at Lisa Tremble. Big fan. Thank you, Lisa. I can't see who gets who ends up getting them. But if you're the recipient of one of those memberships, please check it out. There are an awful lot of a couple hundred videos in there that nobody's seen on the main channel. You got it, Mark. It's yours. John says, I can't swallow the 7-pot. Reminds me, remotes, 7-pot, remotes too intense. It would kill me literally. Yeah, I get it. Don't feel bad. I got destroyed by a sauce that now is pretty easy for me to eat. And the first time I did it here, it just about killed me. Pepperhead, good to see you. You know what's another thing that's interesting? When we were shooting, what was that show? Super Hots, that reality show that I was in. When we were shooting that, I was in the back of Jimmy Pickles' his backyard, and we cut a pepper, and I opened it up, and the oils ran out like 3 or 4 drops. I just dropped it into my hand. I've never seen anything like that. It makes me wonder, is that like all the time? Because when I get them, they've been cut and it's sitting in a box for 3 days. Maybe that's what happens. You have to know it dries out. Mark says the video of the year. That was a fun video. That was a fun one to make. So Dale says, I didn't see that. Hold on. Chili Chup that ate the Pepper X, ate a warthog and said it was the hottest pepper he ate. It was for me. So for those folks who just got a pass, thank you again, Lisa. There are the exclusive bus pass videos. There's a lot of them. There are a few aftermath videos, which I don't usually do. You ate 2 tubes of Terra and pure capsaicin oil. That was a crazy challenge. You were getting ready for a potting festival. Yep. You know what? One video that very few people saw because I filmed it live, and because my channel at the time, I do mostly live videos now. But back in the day, they were all videos I just filmed and then uploaded. We did it was called Spoonfuls of Terror. And there were 8 of us. And the contest was everybody got 10 tubes. 10 tubes. and 4 of us finished it. But I did 10 tubes back to back. That was crazy. Someone's done like 13 or 15 or something. Do you realize how hard, one of the hardest things about that was the volume of peanuts, man? Whoever sits down and eats that many peanuts? It's crazy. That was let you chase eat, and it caught me. You know what? What made that so much fun? It's one of my favorite videos. What made that so much fun, Barbara, is everybody mocked me. Like, it was like a Johnny roast. Yeah, you know what? It's on the channel, but if you search spoonful, just type in spoonful in the search bar for videos, it'll pop up. That was a rough one because it was like a long challenge. It took a long, long time. And I got terrible calf cramps from that. All right, Mark, have a good night, dude. Hope you have a good day at work. Knock him dead. Stoned. What is this? Stoned. Most of the time. There you go. Horseradish jam is fire on roast beef. You know what? A roast beef sandwich isn't the same without horseradish. Have you ever had nasal napalm? It's amazing. Dale got a tube of terror 2.0 from a friend. They're hot. They're dry. You know the thing that makes those hard? They're really dry. And if you put too many in your mouth, think I'm going to go fast. If you're doing it for the challenge, a lot of people have done this. Because there's no limit of how many you can put in your mouth. Like the tube of terror, the first one, you aren't supposed to do more than 2 peanuts at a time. With a 2.0, you can eat them as fast as you want. And I remember the first time I did it, I shoved like a ton of it in my mouth. And it just turns to like cement really quick. It's hard to swallow. Said they were too hot. That's funny. All right, so listen. Having moved away, I got a taste of it when I got rid of cable TV, and that really, really helped. It changed my mood because you're just hammered all day long by the same story. It's terrible. We get bombarded by it. That made my life better. So even if I didn't leave America, I was better off not watching cable news than I was before I started watching cable news. Patrick, good to see you. Try to figure out ways to reduce, like, you know what it is? We talk in the recovery about harm reduction. So if somebody's drinking a case of beer a day, well, maybe try to knock it back to 3 6-packs a day. It's moving in the right direction. Try to eliminate how much, get dopamine from somewhere else because I don't think it's healthy for us. I don't think the world's going to be around long enough for them to do studies on the effect that social media has had on people, but it's horrible. I was watching some show once where the person ordered 2 meals, one for their Instagram and one they were going to eat at a restaurant. And I was watching this, and I'm not going to tell you what her name is, but she told me she's done that. Can you imagine that? We worry more about image. You know what? I don't worry too much about image. You guys, can you tell that? All is well, Patrick. I hope you are too, dude. It's just bad. Biblically, we still have to suffer for a while. That's a different show altogether. Listen, I think that's what I'm saying. I don't think we're going to be around long. I think we're nearing the end. But, oh man, my nose is starting to get stuffed up again. So we have a new church we go to. It takes 90 seconds to walk there from here. So I felt like a bit of a improvement on my overall attitude when I stopped watching cable news. And when I got here, everything changed. Everything changed. You can't find advertisements anywhere. So do what you can to separate, I feel bad. I'm glad that I live where I live. Dale says they're cutting off all food stamps here in the USA for November. Isn't that funny? For some people, experiences don't happen until they post it. I remember living in the day where if it isn't on video, it never happened. It wasn't a thing. The abomination of desolation is taking up its darn time. It's not my timeline. I can't control that. I feel bad mostly for people that are stuck at home. So I'm deleting a comment because we have kids that watch. So I don't want swearing in the comments. Thank you. Um, you know what? Watch this. 2 in the first couple seconds. I've been doing this too long. I have. I've been doing it too long to tolerate anything like that. Sorry. You know what's funny? When Tommy, we were talking about it. When Tommy first said this idea, someday we'll do a video and talk about it. I said, man, you bumped your head. I'm not moving to South America. Then I started watching videos about it, and I was like, maybe I can move to South America. The only thing I miss the stars. I miss seeing the moon. I miss my friends and my family. They're going to come here. Patrick, you have any new pods come across your plate this year? Anything worthwhile? How about no pods at all, Patrick? I'm in a place where they have peppers, but I'll say what kind of peppers. He goes, chili. They don't even have names. I'm not even fooling you. If you go to the market and get chilies, they're just chilies. Nobody's. If they look at you like you're crazy, we say, what's its name? They do it like you're nuts. So I have not. But because of that, Patrick, I'm going to grow in this new year. I think I can probably grow all year round here. It's just 72, between 72 and 75 every single day. Do it from the comfort of a high rise. Man, that wasn't for me. I thought it was going to be, but it wasn't. Galapagos. It's funny. I was talking in a video that they call it the poor man's Galapagos. It's just like 4 hours from here, driving, or 3 hours from driving versus 6 hours on a boat. You know what's funny, Kristen? The whole idea of making chilies. When I was doing videos, reviews, I had people that would send me peppers. And I know what the pepper is from looking at it, and they would have a new name on it. I'd be like, nah. When that happened, when I knew it was happening, I wouldn't review the pepper because there are people that do that. They just get a pepper, grow it, and rename it, or they'll grow it and there's an odd, like a small phenotype change. Do all the no-name chilies taste the same? No, but you know what though? They're all about the same level of heat. There's nothing staggering here at all. But I think the weather's probably perfect for it. If I grew out at the Recover Center, I could go 1,000 plants out there. There's a lot of land, and I could grow 1,000 plants out there. I was trying to think about it. Patrick, the community has gotten wild, to be honest. Keep to myself nowadays. Yep, sure has. I don't miss that. I can promise you. There's not one aspect of that I miss. That's why I got rid of my Facebook yesterday. That was an amazing moment. It was like severing strings that are hanging on me. So interestingly, Dizzy says the names for peppers in South America are rather more explicit. Not if you go where I'm going to get them. Honest to God, they look at you like you're crazy when you. I only did it once. I looked at the pepper. I said, "No, babe." That was crazy. The freeing feeling had to be great. Yeah, I've had a bunch of people email me saying you got to come back, like not to the United States, but to the Chile community, and I've had my fill. I've been there, done that sort of situation. You know what though? I do miss chili festivals. You know what I mean? They were fun, but they were really more fun when I first started. As I got towards like the last 7 or 8 years of the channel, there's just like warring factions. You got to worry about what shirt you wear and who somebody sees you talking to. It's absurd. Okay, here we go. There's one pepper called Pinguita de mono. Do your homework. Fail things. Okay, hang on. We'll do it right now. You're in trouble if you said something naughty. Nice. You know what? This is why we can't have nice things, Dizzy Dragon. You know what? Next time I go there to the market, I'm going to bring a camera and show you guys. Uh-oh. Let me address this because it's worthy of talking about. First of all, John says it takes 6 habaneros with low tolerance to match the heat of some super hots, in my opinion. I guess it's all, a personal thing. But no hab is as sweet and tasty as a super hot. I think most people don't have the ability to truly taste super hots. If they are, they have a difficult time explaining what they're tasting. Your window, when your tolerance is low, you don't have a lot of time to taste anything, because when the pain gets really bad, you're not tasting a thing, I promise you. It's happened to me where I lose the flavor. It's rare. It was rare back in the day, but it's funny, Aaron. I have one chili cookbook already finished, but I don't know what to do with it, But I do it, and I'm halfway through a second. I'm not going to say what it is, but there's a pepper I picked, and there are 10 different recipes that we actually cooked. It's pretty cool. Maybe it's 20. Yeah, it's 20. Pardon me. Is it really called that? Yeah, but you know what, though? That's like, Christian, he's also got to say, pull my finger in an elevator. I'm still a 13-year-old kid at heart sometimes. Bulka did one on a pepper that was from the northeast part of South America. I haven't left Ecuador yet. I don't think I'm going to. Don't sweat, John. All I know about naughty is that you can't make up for 11 months of it with 1 month of nice. Santa's rules. Depends on how hard you sell Santa. He's not the pushover now that he was when I was younger. He was easier to get one over on. It's the truth. Patrick says, the first year I've grown in many years, lots of 7 pots from Troy himself. Those are great peppers. I was waiting for you to make a comment on that, Dizzy. By grams of capsaicin per pepper, you need like 4 hobs to make a 7 pot. But it doesn't, here's the thing, it doesn't, I've had people ask that. If you eat like 1 pepper and it's 1 million Scoville, if you eat 2 of those, have you had 2 million Scoville of heat? No, you've had 1 million Scoville, you just ate 2 of them. It'll feel like you had, 2 million. So it does build on itself, and each time you eat something, it makes it worse. But it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It's not a bad thing, but Brock, I personally believe most hobs you get that are orange are not completely ripe. Mine turned orange, then red, sweet as a red bell, but way hotter than an orange. A lot of peppers are like that. I remember when I did a red jalapeno, people were like, wait a minute, what? Is there red jalapeno? Well, people just don't know. Serranos are like that. Now it sounds like you're doing math. Greetings, Spirit Prof. Fellow bus riders. Hope you all remember to make someone's day great. I hope so. It doesn't take much. Believe it or not, if you meet somebody, just a smile can do it. It's okay, Jane. It really wasn't that bad. All right, listen, I'm going to go eat something because I'm hungry and I haven't eaten today. It just occurred to me. Well, it occurred earlier. Tommy's going to be on tonight. Please join him. All right. Tomorrow, we're doing 1 hot minute. So please get something spicy and join me tomorrow. All right. I appreciate you guys a lot. I love you. I'm Johnny Scoville. This was Chase the Eat.